Hey you guys, how are you doing? It's my favorite season of the year, and when things get all creepy and dark, it's the perfect time to kick out a list with some horror hidden gems on PlayStation 3 that fit the eerie and uncanny mood. So today we are going to talk about the top 10 hidden horror gems on PlayStation 3. And you guys know the drill. Grab yourself some pizza and a coffee, kick back and make yourself comfortable, and let's get the kick out of gaming. Before we get started, I had a really hard time putting together this list because I'm a huge horror fan and deciding on the best hidden gems was not an easy task. Like, which game is a hidden gem? Games like Alien Isolation, The Evil Within or Doom 3 rank pretty high on my top 10 PlayStation 3 horror games list, are not exactly hidden gems. But since you're watching this video right now, I managed to put together 10 amazing hidden horror gems on PlayStation 3. And with that said, let's kick off this list with a fun, light-hearted co-op horror game. Blood Knights. Blood Knights is a simpler B-movie version of Diablo. While this game is far from perfect, it does have a certain charm. This is one of those games that you may need a certain bargain bin or B-movie mentality to truly appreciate. It's a jump in and finish in 1 or 2 sessions and be done with it game. Entertaining nonsense. As a vampire hunter, we are bound by magic to a creature of the night and must work together with this skimpy dressed vampire lady to destroy supernatural foes and battle our former allies. As I said, the gameplay is simple hack and slash fun, and it runs for just about the perfect amount of time. While this is meant as a 2-player co-op game, you can play it alone as well, switching characters on the fly with the press of a button. I really recommend this game if you can get it on a budget price, and it was at one time free with PlayStation Plus, so you might already have it in your library. Next up we have a recommendation from Don John. Condemned 2 Bloodshot. Like the original, we are back at raw, savage, beating up bumps and creepy dudes in rundown buildings in first person. As in the first game, we play as an investigator down on his luck trying to channel his inner Max Payne while struggling to keep his sanity as we face off against what seems like an army of depraved sociopaths. The game's graphics have been improved over the first game and it has some new fighting style and new weapons. This is basically a first-person brawler where we can use almost everything in the environment to fight back, like hammers, bats, locker doors, pipes. There are even fire weapons, but they have little ammo, so we are back at the basics in no time. Its brutal, in-your-face action mixed with the creepy atmosphere will have your heartbeat rising while wondering what's around the next corner. It's a very unique horror game, and if any of this sounds interesting to you, you should give Condemned 2 Bloodshot a try. Another very unique game is Alien vs Predator. Okay, this one is a guilty pleasure of mine. This is the third game in the AVP game series and I recommend all of them. It's like having 3 games in one. This time Alien vs Predator tells the story of a colonial marine base on a distant planet that finds itself at the unfortunate land of a showdown between a hive of aliens and a hunting party of predators. The story is nothing special, but this game oozes atmosphere, and the way the story intervenes between the 3 species is done excellently. For some reason, the AVP game's multiplayer never took off, despite being one of the most fun you could have with friends. Another game that sold me with its concept alone was Infamous Festival of Blood, the standalone DLC for Infamous 2, and what should be a best practice on how to do DLC. This time Cole McGrath has to deal with vampires swarming the city and he has been bitten. To save his soul and the city, we have one night to find and kill the head vampire. In addition to the interesting premise, we have several motion comic cutscenes that really help sell the Infamous feel. If you played Infamous 2, it's fun to return to the familiar streets and battle vampires as the now extra powerful Cole. The most interesting new skill is the Bat Swarm. With this you can travel anywhere quite quickly. This skill does require blood and there is only one way to get it. And who doesn't like attacking random people in the streets? Festival of Blood is a great standalone title for a cheap entry fee, and for the 3 to 4 hours of playtime, it's a fun thrill ride and definitely worth sinking your teeth into. Next up we have Fear 2. Fear 2 is a rock solid corridor shooter where you can close combat slow-mo fly kick your enemies back where they belong. While the gameplay is bloody fun, the story in the second game is a bit weird, like really weird. Alma, the scary girl from the first game, has grown up and fallen in love with you. Yes, you, the main character. And an escalating paranormal crisis threatens to destroy America. Haven't seen that before in a game or movie. But what is important is the gameplay in a Fear game. And it is still fun, with all the elements that made the first game stand out. Slow-mo bullet time with one of the most satisfying shotguns in video game history. The special feeling and atmosphere of Fear is still here. Like the first game, the shootouts with the smart AI are always different and always interesting. And this time it has far more variety in its enemies and locations as well. And you can pilot a badass mech suit, and that's always a win in my books. But sometimes all you need is to unwind after a hard day of work or school by killing masses of stupid zombies with household items. And that's our cue for the next game on this list. Dead Rising 2, Off the Record. If killing zombies with anything you can get your hands on, like beer bottles, computer screens, lightsabers, broadswords or football, or raiding abandoned stores and dress up as a rugby player, cowboy or biker sounds more like your thing, then give Dead Rising 2 Off the Record a shot. A fun game for killing zombies with all kinds of silly weapons that you can find all over the map. You can even combine different objects to make special weapons. As a bonus this time around, you can play the game without a time limit and explore the environment freely. You can also join other players' online games so you can share the fun and revive each other when you die. And talking about co-op fun, Operation Raccoon City. When I first got this game, I was skeptical. I love Resident Evil and shooters. But the main reason I gave this game a try was that it went back to Raccoon City and let you see a different side of the chaos that was unleashed in Resident Evil 2 and 3. Playing as the bad guys from Umbrella in a Resident Evil game sounded like fun, and there are some great ideas for playing with your friends. Like players can get infected by zombie attacks, and when your health runs down, you lose control of your character and turn against your teammates. And they will need to use an antivirus spray to save you or put you down before you become a brain muncher. You can even fight Nemesis and other memorable characters of the series and have a good carefree time with your friends or alone. If you enjoy killing zombies and other ugly creatures, then you will have fun with this game. So, before we dive into the top 3 horror hidden gems, let's bring up some honorable mentions I already talked about in my previous videos, like the Splatterhouse remake, Yakuza Dead Souls or Dantes Inferno. All amazing fun hidden gems I highly recommend. With that said, let's kick off the top 3 games of this list with Metro Last Light. This game has a superb atmosphere that immerses you completely. The gameplay and shooting feels great and can compete with the best FPSs out there. The story is set in the aftermath of a nuclear disaster where the people of Moscow went to live in the subway system, the so-called metro. This game has one of the most and well thought out world building I have ever seen in a game. This is at pretty much all the times, entertaining, creepy and hugely enjoyable shooter. It has a great mix of tightly scripted action scenes in the 1 minute and more open world segments in the next. The best comparison here would be BioShock, which Metro Last Light easily rivals. Last Light and its predecessor are masterfully merging storytelling, shooting and sneaking into a remarkable bleak and dark outlook on what happens when people are down to their primal survival instincts. And talking about going to dark places, The Darkness 1. Interactive storytelling is rarely this good, and there are just a few game endings that make you sit back and think. But The Darkness 1 is one of them. It's a comic to video game adaptation done right. Its amazing narrative and believable cast of characters and the twisted joy that comes from using your OP demon powers will get you hooked till the end. From the opening sequence to the action to the gripping storyline, The Darkness is a heart-pounding thrill ride that grabs you, with its twisted humor, gore, dark atmosphere and amazing voice acting. And finally, get ready to embrace the darkness of space for the final entry on this list. Dead Space Extraction. Necromorphs, alien monsters. Extraction is a light gun spin-off, but 100% a Dead Space game, with deep gameplay, fright-filled plot and great graphics, and one of the best usages of the PlayStation Move I have ever seen. The controls are spot on, and I love how they managed to create a controller scheme that works both with the Move controller and also with the DualShock. What's super cool is that I can have a buddy play it on the DualShock in 2-player mode. I love Dead Space, and Extraction was one of my favorites in the series. The story and character development in this game are top notch. It is amazing to see the effects of a marker in a colony full of people, like shit gets wild in this game. This is a situation we haven't seen in any other Dead Space game. I only wish it could have had online multiplayer, but hey, it still rocks in couch co-op. That's it guys, these are the top 10 horror hidden gems on PlayStation 3. Which games are you playing for Halloween? Let me know in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed this video, kick the like button, sharing is caring, and subscribe. But most importantly, have a great day and get the kick out of game.